Hello, everybody. I would like to introduce Melissa. She is from South Carolina. And Melissa, the floor is yours, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. My name is Melissa, and I am a recovered alcoholic. My sobriety date, against my natural will to drink till I die, is September 5th, 2016. And my sponsor, I have a sponsor, and she knows she's my sponsor because I actually call her very frequently, which I'll get into in a minute. And her name is Barbara, and she has a sponsor. Barbara just so happens to be sober 52 years, and she has a sponsor named Johnny, and he's been sober somewhere between 60 and 65 years. And just to tell you the depth and weight of the spirituality of the community in this fellowship, I have a lot of sober sisters and brothers, many of whom are on this meeting right now that I cannot possibly name because there's so many, but they know I love them and they love me. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this community of Alcoholics Anonymous as a grateful member who's recovered. So, why do I say I'm recovered? Because I used to live in a hopeless state of mind and body that was getting progressively worse. What happened was I started drinking for the first time at the age of 15, and I'm now 55. And I happen to come from a family of people who say that they're alcoholics. I don't give them that diagnosis, but that they never got recovery for it, whether in rehabs or jails or these meetings. And so many of them have died at very young ages because of this illness, which I witnessed. And I always thought to myself how stupid they are and how out of control and irresponsible. And I just thought these thoughts. So one day I was with a group of teenagers, and as it happened, someone brought some alcohol, and I thought I would try it. And I can tell you something happened that day that I will describe this way. When I drank the alcohol that was offered to me for the first time that I could think of in my whole life, I felt safe in my skin. I didn't feel constantly comparing myself to others. I didn't worry about what I was going to say or how stupid I was sounding and how nobody liked me. And I just finally felt at ease and comfort. And I stopped comparing to other people. I finally felt like what I think normal people feel like when they're around others. The problem with that glorious feeling of ease and comfort is that first time I chased it to the point of a medical emergency of drinking so much that so immediately I was drinking alcoholically, but I needed the sense of ease and comfort so bad it was going to harm me how much alcohol I needed to feel safe. Because anyone in their right mind, I would think, maybe from having that medical emergency, maybe that would scare them and think, I shouldn't be doing that, dudes. That's dangerous. What I thought was, okay, this caused a medical emergency, just like with my family, and I'm not going to be stupid like them. And I am going to control this. I am going to dose it. So it never dawned on me to not take any more doses. That was not a thought in my noggin. I just had to be really smart and really get organized with controlling this thing so I could be around people and stop all this constant feeling of dis-ease and disorder and annoyance around people, irritable, restless, and discontent, and very afraid of people, very afraid. So it never dawned on me to eliminate the substance. So what of course happens is the big book tells us of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's the great obsession of every abnormal drinker to control and enjoy their alcohol. But the problem is when I'm in control of it, I don't enjoy it. And when I'm enjoying it, I have no control. And so what I tried to control it, like I would make a plan, to go to a function and drink like a lady, just drink one drink, or I don't know what a lady drinks like, but I would be watching the other ladies or teenage women, young ladies, and I would be like, well, just try to drink like them and don't go so crazy. But I always did. I always progressed to an incredible level of a severe blackout where I would do wild and unmentionable things that I didn't remember, and people would tell me about the next day. But every time I made a decision, I just have to get this under control better. I just never thought to eliminate it. I never did. So throughout my 20s, I I started coming to AA meetings in Los Angeles. That's where I was born and raised between LA and Mexico. I really didn't want to be there. So what I would do is I would go to these big speaker meetings with 2 to 500 people, and I would sit in what I later found out was called the half measures rows. I would sit in the way back, and then these weird, nice women were sponsors and greeters. They would come up to me and invite me to be a part of them to sit up front. And I was like, get away from me, you idiots. Why are they being so nice? How could anyone be? What do they want? I know they want money or sex. They've got to want something. I can't believe how nice these weirdo ladies are being. Get away from me. And I would tell them, get away from me. And they would try to talk to me though and say, sweetie, we know you're a raw nerve type of comments. And I would be like, no, I'm not. Just get away. Oh my God, stop talking to me. And I just didn't want to. It was so weird because I was rejecting them from just being kind. But then I would be sitting in the half measures row, wistfully watching them. Like I wanted to be a part of their community, but I was just too afraid. I just couldn't do it. But I was still there. I was sitting in the half measures row, and I heard a lot of speakers that are in the big book, right? These circuit speakers, the big powerhouse speakers. And one day, in my half measures world, I heard a man speak, and he said something that could make me weep to this very day. In his talk, he said, thank you, God, for what and whom you've given me. Thank you, God, for what and whom you've taken from me. And when I heard that man say that, that man did not know that I had already lost a daughter in my life due to the violence and chaos of alcoholism and severe domestic violence. And that man did not know that. And I was sitting there and I was like, what is that man talking about? I never told anyone I lost my daughter because what did I do? I drank. I didn't tell anyone I had any grief. I didn't cry. When the doctors told me what happened, I said, okay. And I drank. I did not shed one tear. I did not cry. I didn't know how. I just knew how to fight, get enraged, and drink. And I'm just empty on the inside. Okay, so that man said that. And I was like, what is he talking about? Thank you, God, for what and whom you've given to me. And thank you, God, for what and whom you've taken from me. Those are some very weird words. And I don't understand anything. So a very long journey happened because I was around AA I was never in AA. But I would go to these big speaker meetings, you guys, and this went on for a long time. 10 years later, I would be engaged again, and I lost another baby. And then we discovered that I have an illness that means I can't have children. But I'll tell you this, this is not the fault of alcoholism. Because I could tell you, oh, the alcohol made me do this. It didn't. Fear did. Bewilderment, frustration, terror, and despair. That's what A Vision for You said, that we alcoholics have incredible terror, frustration, bewilderment, and despair, and then catastrophic loneliness. And I would never say these things to anyone. So 10 years later, I'm engaged and I lose another child. My fiance is crying and the doctors are talking to us. And I told this precious man, and I'm not going to say the mean words I told him in respect for our tradition of having a family atmosphere, because I do not use family words when I'm in frustration, terror, bewilderment, and despair. So I told this fiance, you shut the F up and you stop your crybaby crying, you idiot. Because I knew I was going to go drink. I knew my solution to the death of another child. And I knew it was a good solution because I knew where I would get my ease and comfort. Because that's my source. It's a vicious lower power, but it ain't like milk to this alcoholic and it ain't like soda. It works, dudes, in a deep blackout to just forget all these feelings and all these life problems. Okay, so of course he breaks up with me because I'm not a very nice lady, right? I got a dragon lady inside and she's the real deal. So I go on my merry way. And then one day, through a long journey, God brought me a very loving husband. So when we got married, he didn't know this. I made a secret rule. I said, now you got to drink like a lady. Cut it out, you doopity. You got to be a nice wife now. Okay. But the problem is now I got at least now 15 years of hardcore problem drinking. So what I think of as normal and in control, I could give you an example, okay? Joe and I, my husband, we were on a bowling team. He was a firefighter, and there was a bowling team, a bowling league for couples on the fire department. So I think I'm doing a really good job only drinking one Long Island iced tea, an extra large one, like in a boat of a glass. And everybody's teasing him that he's going to get lucky. And the ladies are looking at me sort of weird because I can drink that whole thing and I don't even get a slight anything of effect. I need at least 3 now to start to feel anything. So I make a rule. I'm just going to drink one per game every 10 to 12 frames. I'm going to drink one, so I'm only going to have 3. Okay. And I think I'm doing a really good job controlling my alcohol. And everybody's looking at me like I'm a doopity. Okay. Like, I really think I'm fooling people though. And even Joe's like, honey, you, because he's a paramedic, right? And he's like, you don't have any effect of this. And I'm like, yeah, Joe, I guess I don't. I don't, I didn't tell him why. You know what I mean? Like, I have a high tolerance now. So Joe and I had a very amazing life. It was a big life. Like we sent out 600 Christmas cards a year. And during that time of my life, you guys, I really had a double life. Most alcoholics, the big book says, have a double life. So in the process of this life, I went to seminary and I became a chaplain. I said, if I cannot understand God in this weird AA world, I'm going to study the hell out of God and get a big old degree and do all this stuff. And I became a chaplain. And there's no manner of death I have not attended to, and no manner of alcoholism and alcohol related problems in my professional life. And my secret weapon, though, was to cope with all this stress, was to drink. And I never told anyone, and I thought I was doing a pretty good job hiding it and controlling. And then something happened. My husband went to retire and he scheduled a retirement date. And in the will of God, my husband was killed in the line of duty as a firefighter on October 5th, 2012. He died. And I said, this is what an alcoholic woman says when this happens. Now I can drink as much as I want. I don't have to control it anymore. I don't even have to try. Oh, this is so good. And the big book is some nice words, and it's a beautiful book. Anyways, it's not words anymore, because what happened was after Joe died, I started drinking as much as I want. And that's a lot. And I did not have the institutional problem of rehabs and jails. Mine was emergency rooms. I was in the ER no less than 5 times a week with seizures. And I was begging the doctors to let me die because they knew Joe as a firefighter killed in the line of duty. And they were my colleagues who I was a neurology chaplain with them. And they would bring in their little trays of all these sedatives to calm me down of my seizures and all the drunk problems. And the doctors would try to talk to me. And I told these doctors verbatim, doctors, you cannot help me. This is between me and God. And you take your little pills and your little shots and you get away from me. Stop keeping me alive, you idiots. Why are you keeping me alive? And they would squish my cheeks and say, stay alive, chaplain. And I'm like, really? And they would treat and street me and go home, just do the whole vicious cycle. I had a morning meditation, you guys, and it went like this. I meditated. I had an image of my higher power carrying me in a dark hole, and I couldn't see him and I couldn't feel him, but I knew he was there keeping me alive. And I said, look, you idiot, God, you kill everybody I love. I hate you. Why are you keeping me alive? And then I would wake up in the morning and I told God, I'm going to drink as much as I want, you idiot. And I did. And he still kept me alive. I'm like, are you crazy, God? So this went on for 4 years. Pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization. Some people say the definition of insanity is repeating the same things and expecting different results every time. My experience tells me different. Here's my definition of insanity from my experience as a drunk. It's repeating the same thing over and over and not caring about the results. I didn't care enough to care about the results at all. I sued 27 people. I got so many people fired. If you made a mistake at Starbucks, I would go up to you and say, are you going to quit or are you going to get fired today? You messed up my coffee, you idiot. You don't deserve to work here. And they would look all shocked, and I was glad when I was Dragon Lady. I didn't care. I did not care. And I told them I didn't care. And then I made it my mission that day to get them fired. Oh, was this alcohol doing this? No, it was conscious separation from a loving God. I felt like God did things against me. And that gave me the right to act this way and drink as much as I want. So I did. All right. Thank God my sponsor tells me the 9th step is the only step that you will never finish perfectly. Because the longer you're sober, the more you'll realize the harm you've caused to others. And she's right, dudes. So I'll get to that in a minute. Anyways, How did I get back in these crazy rooms with all this love? This is how God sent me an angel, because this is crazy what I'm about to say. Because you guys, this is funny, but not funny. In this weird time of pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization and catastrophic drinking and Dragon Lady in charge, I might try to go to church and then I would cause chaos and confusion. Pastors called me and said, never come to my church ever again. Now, I don't know if you realize this, they can lose their license for saying that. They're not allowed to kick people out of church, okay? But God had to have them do that to get me alone to get to AA. If church would have worked, and God bless church, I'm not here to speak pro or con religion. That's against our traditions. I'm just saying my experiences. I tried to go to grief groups, I got kicked out. I tried to go to church, I got kicked out verbatim. Leave, never come here again. Okay. All right. So finally, one day, this one lady in my town, um, I forgot how we met, but I don't remember. But she tells me she wants to go out partying and drinking. So I tell her, I'm like, Celia, you better drive. She's like, what? I go, you're going to drive because I'm going to have a good time. So we went out drinking. It's going to be near my last drunk. This is how I got to AA. Again, this is so hysterical. We go out drinking and I do all manner of insane things. Like if you're at the bar and you're drinking too slow, I come up to you and say, you're drinking too slow. Give me that. And I take your drink and I down it. Okay. Like just wanting to fight, wanting to just cause chaos. And I get really, really drunk. And so Celia's driving home. She drops me off. The next day, God has a funny sense of humor. Okay. You got to laugh at some of this stuff. The next day, Celia calls me and she says, Melissa, I've been thinking that I have a problem with drinking, and I know you do. And I don't want to be like you. I'm going to get like you if I keep this up. So I need to go to AA. And I think you do too. She didn't know I'd been around and I was on a 4-year break. Okay. So she goes, I think I need to go to AA. And I think you do too. Could you please come with me? I was like, really? Okay, I'll go. So I went and something mystical happened. It was on July 4th, 2016. Okay. Celia's a white chip wonder. She got a white chip. She's been sober ever since. She's a good friend of mine. I know her. That is not my story. I still had to go through some withdrawals and some problems. So my last drink was on September 4th, 2016, and I went out with a bang. It was half a glass of champagne, and I went into a 5-day blackout. It's a miracle I woke up. And that's why I say always, that is God's sobriety date for me. I did not pick it. It was just the last blackout I was going to have, because if I do it again, I could die. I won't wake up from a blackout. So I'm in the fellowship now. And me and God have to have a come to whatever moment. Because my first sponsor came to me in the parking lot of a meeting. And at this time, you guys, I don't look like I look now. I have I have a lot of medical problems. I'm yellow. I can't see good. I have multiple eye conditions from drinking 25,000 gallons of bourbon. I'm just a wreck. I'm a raw nerve and I'm a wreck. So this lady comes up to me in the parking lot of a meeting, Kelly, and she goes, hey, girl, I've asked around about you and you need a sponsor. I'm like, yeah, for what? I'm just so annoyed. And she said the magic word. She goes, Melissa, I heard what happened to your husband. And my dad was the fire chief of this town. And the Charleston Nine, when they died in the line of duty, we were deeply involved with them. And I'm very sorry for what happened to your husband. And I broke down in that parking lot, weeping and sobbing like nobody's business. And she's all, it's okay, sweetie, you're home now. I was like, what? And she goes, "What I want you to do is call me every day, and I want you to write a 5-item gratitude list." So I was like, "All right." But I said, "Kelly, I don't really feel grateful." She's all, "That's okay. Just write it up and call me." So that I'm not going to cuss. I'm going to keep it family friendly. But I really wrote my grumpy gratitude list. This is how I took step one. Thank you, you blankety blank God, for killing Donnie, my brother, for killing Melinda, for killing Rosa, for killing Joe. And thanks for my service dog, Max, for my heart condition. Thank you so much. Call Kelly. Kelly, I did my gratitude list. La, la, la. Good job, Melissa. Do it again. What? Good job, Melissa. Do it again. So she got my grumpy gratitude list every day, you guys, until a mystical thing happened. In October of 2016, I'm writing my terrible gratitude list when God took over my little pen and I wrote, "Thank you, God, for the gift of my life." And I just broke down. There was no other gratitude. I called Kelly and I said, "Kelly, I'm alive. I made it. Thank you, God, for the gift of my life." She's all, "Yeah, sweetie, you made it. You're at step one now." And God didn't, and the humility prayer, Dr. Bob had a plaque on his desk, and it's called the Humility Prayer. And it's published in the September 1965 version. It's free on Google. You can Google it. Google Grapevine, September 67 or 65 Humility Prayer. And in that prayer, it says to feel nothing done against me. God didn't kill people I loved. It was just their time to go home. It was just their time to die. It was not done against me. Nothing is done against me. And only a selfish and self centered alcoholic, precious soul, wounded soul, would use the death of people to drink. I have met many widows now and many childless people from catastrophic tragedies. They don't drink, they grieve. I didn't know how to grieve. I didn't want to grieve. I really didn't. It's yucky, it's messy, it's weird. I like my bourbon just fine. Now I don't, because a lot of spiritual giants came ahead of me. And 30 years later, I can tell you this right now. Thank you, God, for the everyone and everything you've given me. And thank you, God, for everyone and everything you've taken from me. And I believe it. Joe and Donnie and Melinda and Rosa are right where they need to be. They're not any more alive now than they were when I was drinking. And I'm sober and I'm happy and I'm a dignified woman today by the grace and all the principles and the steps, the traditions, and the concepts. I have an amazing life. I am happy, joyous, and free. And the big book came real. It says in there, burn into the consciousness with everyone with whom you work, family or no family, job or no job. The prospect can recover if they trust God and clean house. And Dr. Bob had worked with others. So my sponsor eventually became Barbara. I have this right in front of me, you guys. It's a butterfly. Spons works you through the book line by line, right? We go through it. I share all the steps. And at the end of the journey, she gives her sponsees a butterfly because now I have had a change. I don't live anymore with bewilderment, frustration, terror, despair, and loneliness. I have feels, like the young adults say, a lot of feels. My husband, I didn't know in 2011 that was going to be his last Thanksgiving. And he was going to die before the next one. So I have a lot of feelings around Thanksgiving, and my mouth gets a little watery. So I just go to some more meetings and I pick up some more sponsees. I keep carrying the message, right? I just do a little extra service, right? So those, it doesn't morph into thirst to quench grief. I will never stop missing my family. That's okay. I have God, right? I'm in this fellowship. I sponsor a lot of people gladly, right? We laugh and we cry. We laugh and we cry going through the book, finding their principles. I carry what was imbued in me, right? And I keep this butterfly near because my sponsor says, Melissa, you're going to hear a lot of people go through the steps differently. May this butterfly always remind you, you took them once, you stay on 10, 11, and 12, you're good to go. Now let's go into the traditions. You don't have to go backwards anymore. I'm like, wow, Spons, thanks. Right? I get to live as a recovered, dignified, graceful, sober woman. And when people ask me, I'll wrap up with this. I go to things, right, in life, and this did happen to me recently too. They'll say, are you married? And I'm like, no, my husband died. And they're like, oh, sorry, you seem so happy. And I'm like, yeah, he's right where he needs to be. And then they'll say, do you have any children? No, they died. What? And this man said to me recently, he goes, you're a tragedy magnet. And then he shook himself. And I said, Barry, that may be true, but I'm not a despair magnet. I said, I maybe have a lot of tragedies, what my sponsor would call the pain of life. It's just the pain of life. But I am not a despair magnet. He goes, you really don't look like a despair magnet. I go, I really don't. I miss them. I love them. I grieve. But the steps, the fellowship, the depth and weight, my sober friends, my spons. I'm in a big community of love. I'm in the middle of the herd now. I'm not in the half measures row anymore. I'm up front and center. Okay. Because I need it, right? It's okay. I want to live today. And I want to live happy, joyous, and free, just like the big book promises. So I really thank Christy. She couldn't be here for asking me to speak. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the service. Welcome, newcomer. I wrote your name down. Sorry. 65 days of sobriety. I was like, you go, guy. And don't, my Uncle Craig, don't keep coming back. Just stick and stay. We'll love you. Thanks, you guys. No one told you today they love you. I love you. Thanks for letting me share.